Coming up next on the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime, we take a look back at WWE Raw, TNA Impact Wrestling, and even last night's SmackDown. We also go in-depth on the controversy surrounding Austin Aries and an announcement about another chance for you to meet a former WWE and TNA superstar. We've also got a special announcement from another star. I wish you'd tell me who it is, David Hero.
Oh, it's a secret.
And all of that, including this week's hot news and Diamond of the Ring, right here, right now on PWR Primetime Saturday night. Ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime Saturday night. Damian Nelson sitting alongside David Octavius, the Aries, the alleged backyard one-time knockout Stevens Hall of Fame draft losing champion Hero. And what a week it's been in wrestling. What a loaded show we have. Extreme Rules tomorrow night on pay-per-view.
We have a lot to talk about.
We do, so let's get right down to it, ladies and gentlemen, and this week's WWE Report. WWE Raw this past Monday night started off a bit uniquely with a dance-off, David Hero, between Fandango and Chris Jericho.
And let's not forget about Edit Lewinsky.
I'm sorry?
That was Jericho's dance partner.
Yes.
On the big parquet, it's not butter floor.
Butterface?
No, the parquet floor in the ring.
Ah, yes. You know, a lot of people tried to pan this segment, especially they did so live on Twitter as it was going on, but I think it did what it needed to do to push forward Fandango's role in this matchup on Sunday.
I completely disagree. There was no reason to have it.
None?
None. I mean, it didn't accomplish anything. There was no dancing. All it did was it gave Fandango the opportunity to beat up Chris Jericho one more time.
Oh, and you would want to do that before the match on Sunday.
But you didn't need all that extra hoopla and
Shenanigans.
and shenanigans.
Well, Dolph Ziggler, it was announced earlier on the day on Monday at WWE.com that he would no longer be a part of Extreme Rules due to concussion he suffered last week.
Right here.
And now a new matchup has been signed for Extreme Rules. One we talked about yesterday, Be the Booker David Hero. It's a #1 contenders matchup between Alberto Del Rio and Jack Swagger.
Yeah, we know it's Del Rio and Swagger, but once again, everybody out there, they say I'm the career killer. Okay, that I hurt the Miz's career, Cody's career, Cena got hurt. No one's mentioning the fact that Dolph Ziggler got concussed after you drafted him.
One injury, 20 guys.
The world champion.
You have 87 people on your roster, and
the world champion
15 of them are already injured.
Is now not compete. And he's a big loss on this pay-per-view. I mean, for
Dolph Ziggler is an extreme loss on this pay-per-view.
That three-way match, that triple threat match, that ladder match was great. Mm-hmm. Now it's just a regular match to determine a #1 contender, even though both guys were already the #1 contender.
Are the highlights in this matchup now Ricardo Rodriguez and Zeb Coulter?
Ricardo and Zeb are absolutely going to be some of the most entertaining parts of this match.
Another matchup announced for Extreme Rules, Dean Ambrose versus Kofi Kingston for the United States Championship on Be the Booker yesterday, David Hero. We talked about the amazing way the Shield has been introduced into WWE and now vying for these lower titles in their ascension to the top of the WWE roster. It seems as if coming out of Extreme Rules tomorrow night, they're going to be champions, all three.
And let's hope that they can elevate the United States Heavyweight Championship.
And the Shield takes on John Cena, Kane, and Daniel Bryan. What a matchup, David Hero, at the 2-hour point in Raw Monday night. The fans in Tulsa very heavily into it, and I thought it delivered tremendously in selling this pay-per-view.
It did exactly what they had to do. The only thing I would have changed is that instead of John Cena beating 2 out of the three Shield guys, all 3 of them should have jumped on Cena and all got disqualified. Because that keeps the Shield completely strong as to never having their shoulders pinned. But John Cena obviously wanted to make sure that wasn't going to happen.
Who's the standout star in that matchup?
You know, I think Daniel Bryan was.
Really?
I think he did a great job of working with all 3 guys in the Shield. He took the majority of the heat. I thought Kane is far better today than he was 10, 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. He does far more. But the Shield works great as a cohesive unit. They get the quick tags, and now they know how to. They just work so well together. That match was solid. I just wish it would have had a different ending.
We saw the confrontation face-to-face, Triple H and Brock Lesnar, two men in the same building for the first time since WrestleMania. The rematch happens tomorrow night at Extreme Rules, and I still don't care. What's missing, David Hero? What am I losing my fandom? Am I missing out on something? I should care about this matchup with Triple H, one of the best wrestlers in the history of the business, and Brock Lesnar, one of the most phenomenal athletes in the history of WWE.
Do you know why
I
don't care
about
Do you know why you don't care? Because there's no currency in this match. There's nothing of value. There's no loser must retire. It's Triple H's career on the line. I mean, of course they did that They did it at WrestleMania. They did, but there's nothing it's a cage match, and they're fighting over an old beat-up office for all intents and purposes right now.
I thought it was nice that they dropped the cage on Monday for visuals.
Well, they had to, but I didn't like the fact that they wound up in the cage.
Yeah,
I would have rather have Brock not gone down there, but hey, they're smarter than we are. They know what they're doing. There's no currency. There's no sense of urgency in this match.
You know, Raw overall, I thought David Hero was better than last week, but still a chore. And a lot of people thought that Raw this past Monday night was second only to the tweets of the World Heavyweight Champion Dolph Ziggler, who was live tweeting during Raw this past Monday night.
For a guy that's concussed, he did a tremendous job of keeping me entertained that entire night. He was very funny, haha.
Let's move on to SmackDown, which was just last night on Sci-Fi. The main event was a six-man tag team matchup. Randy Orton, Sheamus, and your boy Alberto Del Rio defeating the Big Show, Mark Henry, and Jack Swagger. All those men involved in main event matchups Sunday night, tomorrow night at Extreme Rules.
I guess they had to get everybody in. I mean, this is what Teddy Long does. He makes tag team matches on SmackDown, and it's giving away the show. Speaking
of tag teams, another tag team matchup, Seth Rollins and Roman Reigns, which, by the way, is a tremendous tag team unit. You've got the High Flyer and
it's
sort of...
almost like a new era Hart Foundation. But Roman Reigns is far better than Jim Neidhart.
Well, he was in a matchup with his cousins again as they defeated the Usos. Obviously, they got the big tag team championship matchup against Team Hell No tomorrow night at Extreme Rules. We also saw The Miz return to wrestling action. Why are you laughing?
Because
he got a defeat over Damian Sandow.
Made him tap to the figure four. I laugh whenever they say...
Haters wanted?
No.
You didn't want to miss his new shirts.
No, that Ric Flair is his mentor.
Why do you laugh?
It just is so ridiculous. Ric Flair? The Miz? No.
Okay, would you rather have Paul Roma and the Horsemen again?
It's almost the same thing.
You are cynical. You are just a problem. I want Zeb Coulter and Jack Swagger to talk about you like they talked last night about the whole situation with the IRS and Benghazi.
First of all, Zeb and Swagger and I get along just fine.
I'm sure you do.
We do.
Yeah. Watching the end of the news dial with Fox News and such.
We're honest.
SmackDown last night, it almost could have not happened.
SmackDown was the Raw post show.
Sin Cara made his big return this Wednesday night on Main Event. He beat Wade Barrett at a
We pay a lot of money for this time. We're not wasting it on Sin Cara.
However, great matchup, though. Kane versus Seth Rollins. Disqualification. Obviously, the Shield getting involved in that matchup.
It's pay-per-view time coming up, of course.
There is a pay-per-view this Sunday. Tomorrow night, Extreme Rules. We'll talk much more about this. That is this week's WWE Report. You just didn't want to talk about Cody Rhodes getting that win over Justin Gabriel in a tremendous matchup on Main Event, but be that as it may. Still to come, though, we take a look back at TNA Impact Wrestling from this past Thursday night. We go in-depth on the controversy surrounding Austin Aries. We've got hot news, and David Heroes, one of your super friends, has a special announcement. We'll find out what that thud will be later. And this week's Wrestling Outlook. But first, we have this week's Event Center. Linda's going to give you details on how you can meet a former WWE champion here in Milwaukee. That all when we come back, right here on My 24 Milwaukee.
If you've been hurt in a car wreck, the insurance company may try to stop you from getting what's fair.
After my car wreck, the insurance company tried to stop me from getting what was fair. I called Gruber Law Offices.
Be careful. Call us right away.
They better be careful. Now I've got Gruber Law Offices.
Call us. Let us get started on your case right now.
They green-lighted my case and got me $100,000.
Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. Call 276-6666.
Welcome back to PWR Prime Time. It is now time for the PWR Event Center, brought to you by Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all. Ring of Honor Wrestling returns to Milwaukee's Turner Hall on Friday, July 12th for live action. Be there as ROH comes to Milwaukee for only the second time ever. Get details and tickets now at rohwrestling.com. Meet Al Snow at Robert Hack Diamonds on Saturday, July 13th for a special meet and greet event. Get all the details now at pwrshow.com. Milwaukee's very own GLCW returns to Circle B in Cedarburg for Calapalooza on June 28th, featuring Armando Estrada, Scotty 2 Hottie, and Rikishi. Tickets are available now at blizzardbrawl.com. That's it for this week's Event Center, brought to you by Gruber Law Offices, and we'll see you at the matches.
This week's Robert Hack Diamond of the Ring is the one, the only, the multi-time Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion, Chris Jericho. Yes, Y2J cuts a scathing promo Monday Night on Raw to show once again that he is one of the best in the world. This week's Robert Hack Diamond of the Ring, the place where they pay cash for gold, is Y2J Chris Jericho.
I was thinking maybe you'd pick Sin Cara. Made his big return on Main Event.
He's already gotten more time on this show than he deserves. Stop it.
Let's go to this week's in-depth segment, ladies and gentlemen, and there's been a lot of discussion in the last week over an incident that occurred on last week's Impact Wrestling live broadcast. In case you missed it, during the in-ring introductions for the tag team matchup, ring announcer Christy Hemme announced the wrong team. While that in and of itself is not a huge deal, what happened after has stirred a great deal of controversy. Let's take a look back now at the incident that occurred with Austin Aries and Christy Hemme on Impact this past Thursday night.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your first entrants in this match, Austin Aries and Bobby Roode.
Christy trying to mend the fences there.
Well, you saw it yourself. Aries climbs to the second turnbuckle and puts his crotch in
Offers a hot
Christy
dog.
Hemme's ketchup or mustard.
Doesn't make a difference anymore. Relish for all I care.
Some say it's innocent. Others have said it was as extreme as sexual harassment. A couple of people commenting on it, including Spike TV executive David Schwartz, who told WrestleZone contributor Mark Madden that action will be taken. Schwartz said, and I quote, "We have a zero-tolerance policy for sexual harassment, and I'm trying to get more information on what action is being taken."
May the Schwartz be with you.
Also says that Carter took this very personally, being Dixie Carter, president of TNA Wrestling, and that a statement would be forthcoming. Well, Dixie Carter took to Twitter to make that statement and said, and I quote, "TNA has zero tolerance for inappropriate behavior. The incident with Austin Aries was taken very seriously and handled immediately." TNA star Chavo Guerrero, a friend of this show, took to Twitter to comment on the incident and said, and I quote, "Great job at Mark Madden X for watering down wrestling even more. God forbid that a wrestler breaks out of the typical mode of being so scared to show his personality on TV. You must have been going crazy during the Attitude Era with every cutting-edge thing that Vince did. And for the record, I saw Hemme after that segment, and she didn't look bothered at all. Just saying, I was there. I'm the first one to stick up for women's rights, but I stick up for everyone's rights, men, women, children, and animals." That from Chavo Guerrero.
Pepe.
This leads to a lot of discussion, David Hero, and a lot of people talking about it. We just saw the clip. Was it really sexual harassment?
Absolutely.
How?
Because she didn't know it was coming. No pun intended. Sometimes during the Attitude Era, that stuff is scripted, but they know what's coming. This is serious.
Yes, it is serious. Why don't you take it that way and not joke right away? Look, here's the thing. We just watched it. I saw it live. You saw it live. In my opinion, as a very liberal person, it was innocent. He didn't go and start Jake Robertson or Ravishing Rick Rudeing her in the quarter.
But seriously, first of all, TNA Impact Wrestling is run by a woman.
A female? What does that matter? Equal rights.
Because,
doesn't matter if it's a woman or a man.
Here's what. Christy didn't know that was going to happen.
How do you know that?
Because I know. I talked to people that were there, that were backstage, that were in the hotel afterwards, and that she was uncertain as to how to handle it. Okay? fact of the matter is, if Dixie Carter does nothing, okay, what does that say about her? And Austin Aries, you know what? Listen, I get it. You're the heel. You're the bad guy. And I'm sure some of the guys in the back popped and they thought it was funny and it's a great story. But it backfired. And it's something that Attitude Era was 15 years ago, okay? That stuff doesn't go over very well in today's society anymore.
This was not even made a small deal of during or after the live broadcast last Thursday. It wasn't until Mark Madden picked up on this and started reporting it that it became a story. That's the way things happen, of course, in this world. But at the same time, if it was that heinous, if it was likened to sexual harassment,
I disagree.
then people would have picked up on it last Thursday during Impact.
When someone tweeted Christy Hemme about it and asked what she thought, she replied.
Their Twitter tweets are all gimmicks.
And then she deleted it afterwards.
She said unacceptable.
Okay. Yes.
Okay, when they're perpetuating gimmicks on their personal Twitter accounts, what believability does this have versus anything else
What
that's
I'm
said?
saying, okay, if Christy Hemme is your wife, and some guy, unbeknownst to her, rides up
and does the normal pose he does when he gets in the ring every week, and she just happened to be there. After she announced him, he went up and did what he does every week.
You wouldn't be hot about it? You wouldn't be hot about it?
No, I'm liberal.
You are so full. I would knock him out. There's no question about that.
Was TNA wrong for putting Christy Hemme in that situation?
She wasn't put in that situation.
Clearly she was. It happened.
Austin Aries was wrong for the way he handled it. How many times has Lillian Garcia screwed up an announcement? Or Tony Chimmel?
Or had Rock
Justin
put his
Roberts
in her face and say, hey, want some strudel?
It's completely different.
How is it completely different?
It was a pastry. It wasn't his strudel.
What should the punishment be? Since this is so heinous.
No, I'm not saying it's so heinous. I just think that they need to just say, hey, it's not acceptable. They can't do it. It's not It's one thing if she knew that she was in on it, and she could prepare for it.
But now, come on now. You know wrestling is very improvisational.
Of course.
And a lot of stuff that happens out there is not talked about before.
It was done for the wrong reason.
Because you're thinking he did it because he's Austin Aries.
Absolutely. That's the only reason why he did it.
And he wanted to get back at her for messing up.
I guarantee nobody else in the locker room would have done that.
Would this have happened in WWE? Would anyone take that risk?
They would have. Certain Triple H would have done it, but he can do whatever he wants.
So because it's Austin Aries,
no. I'm just saying
he deserves to be fired.
I didn't say he should be fired.
A lot of people are calling for it.
Well, you know what? Maybe.
This is a bandwagon story. It is and maybe we just hopped on it. But
honest to God, I don't care who it is. I don't care if it is one of my super friends or not a super friend. And maybe it's because I'm older now.
Yeah, you're pretty old.
It's just not appropriate.
But watching it, when we just saw the clip, David Hero, if this had not been made a big deal out of, would you have noticed?
Bro, I noticed it right away. I called and told you about it. I'm like, did you see what Austin Aries did? He put his A double in her face.
It's this week's in-depth segment, ladies and gentlemen. We're out of time for that active discussion, but it is time now for this week's hot news. It's all the headlines you need in just around 90 seconds or less. No guarantee on the time. Inspirational speaker and former WWE wrestling champion Mark Merrow, formerly the Marvelous One, was ordained as a minister on May 8, 2013 by Bishop Mark J. Sharona, founder and senior pastor of Church of the Living Edge in Longwood, Florida, and the Global Fellowship Network of Pastors and Leaders Legacy Alliance. Having proven a divine gift and calling and having evidence preparation in the preaching, and Mark Merrow's a priest. That's all we need to say. He's been.
You went way over 90 seconds just on Mark Merrow.
Speaking for a long time. He did quote, though, I have never felt a greater sense of purpose and passion for the work God has for me. So obviously that's admirable, and congratulations to Mark Merrow. PWTorch.com reports that WWE SmackDown last Friday scored a 1.86 rating, slightly up from the near-year low of 1.82 rating last week. SmackDown averaged 2.53 million viewers, up 2.5% from a near-year low average of 2.47 million viewers last week, essentially flat. On cable TV Friday night, SmackDown rated number 5 in overall viewers and number 2 in the key male demographics behind the NBA playoffs, which blew away SmackDown with an average of 6.6 million viewers Friday night. That's it for this week's hot news, and there's so much still to come on this edition of the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime. We take a look back at Thursday's TNA Impact Wrestling, where there was no sexual harassment, a special announcement from one of your little friends, and we tell you what to look for during the week ahead in pro wrestling and the Wrestling Outlook. All that after this brief timeout right here on My 24 Milwaukee.
Who do you trust when buying your jewelry? Brad Yulberg here, and I can tell you at Robert Hack Diamonds, we will treat you fair and like family. We have thousands of diamonds in stock, thousands of pieces of jewelry, and prices from under $50 to over $50,000. Come to Robert Hack Diamonds for a relaxed and enjoyable jewelry buying experience. Shop around before you buy. Robert Hack Diamonds is located at 76th and Layton and Greenfield, and our new location on the corner of Green Tree and Port Washington Road in Glendale.
Come to Robert Hack Diamonds.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Pro Wrestling Report Primetime Saturday night right here on My 24 Milwaukee. Damian Nelson sitting here alongside David Hero, and it's time to go into this week's TNA Report. Impact Wrestling this past Thursday night featured a contract signing between Bully Ray and Sting for their big matchup at Slammiversary coming up in June. Sting asked for a no-holds-barred stipulation, and Bully Ray agreed. Now, the greatest thing about this whole segment was that Bully Ray added that if Sting loses, he can never challenge for the TNA World Heavyweight title again.
Well, that's great. And of course, it's a no DQ, no holds barred match. Why? Because it's the best match those two can have. They can hide everything that they don't
Sting
want to
has
do.
a reason to wear his t-shirt.
Well, it just makes more sense for the whole program.
Clearly, Bully Ray's going to win this matchup if the current momentum of TNA continues, at least with what they're doing with Bully Ray. And as you said last week on, or just earlier this week on Mailbox, Bully Ray is the most important champion in wrestling right now, or the most relevant champion in wrestling right now.
He really is.
And it's great momentum that he's built in TNA and will continue to build in TNA. And I think it's been a while now, David Hero. TNA's dropped a few pay-per-views from their schedule. They've got these long builds. Yeah, 8 of them.
8 of them.
They've got these long builds between shows now, so they're going between Lockdown and Slammiversary. We're doing a contract signing about a month before the pay-per-view event. They can spread this out so much further and get so much out of it, but is it too spread out?
You know what? It seems like it's been forever since we've talked about any pay-per-views.
Yeah,
I
which
mean,
is a great
WrestleMania
place to
seems
be,
like
by the way.
forever ago.
Yeah, because it was mostly forgettable.
Well, but, I mean, for TNA Impact Wrestling, it's the right way for them to go. Because the other pay-per-views, there was no, they're just throwing stuff together and hoping it would work and get a buy rate, and people weren't investing into it. Now it's more of a main feel to these pay-per-views, and it's what they need to make some money.
Speaking of pay-per-views, the Bound for Glory series is back, and we saw Jay Bradley defeat Christian York to earn a spot in the Bound for Glory series. And David Hero, you've used Jay Bradley on a couple of your GLCW shows here in the Wisconsin area.
Jay Bradley is a young stud. He has a ton of potential. He's got size. He can talk. He can go in the ring. He's got the boomstick. I think it's great for Jay Bradley.
We saw it last Thursday on Impact, the big return of Abyss. However, this week, Joseph Parks is back.
He was happy.
Up with, I guess D'Lo is still in the Aces.
You know what?
I'm confused.
Joseph Park was distraught he missed his brother, that he was a week off by seeing him.
Do you think, will we ever see those two in the same place at the same time?
We did once already. Absolutely we did. Did you forget?
No, I did not forget at all.
Well, I'm just saying they've been there.
Also, TNA Impact is live again. They had a big press conference earlier this week in Las Vegas. They're going to be in Las Vegas, Nevada, where Kenny King lives and Mike Tenay lives as well, by the way.
June 29th.
Yes.
Yes.
Should we go to that?
That's my birthday. We should go to that. But I have to say something first here.
I'm sorry?
I don't want to get hemified here. We have a huge special announcement.
That's sexual harassment.
No, it's not. This is a microphone.
Oh, as much as it was on Impact last week.
Stop it. Ken Anderson, special announcement from my super friend, Mr. Anderson, Ken Anderson. Take it away, Ken. What do you got for us?
You know what? For the last couple of years, I've had MrKenAnderson.com up and running. Been kind of half-assing it. I'll be honest with you. No more. Ladies and gentlemen, go to MrKenAnderson.com for all of your latest and greatest asshole merchandise. Hats, buttons, pins, t-shirts, DVDs, can koozies, you name it, it'll frickin' be there. MrKenAnderson.com.
That's fine. You didn't have to sneak around to do that.
I wasn't sneaking anything.
I like Ken Anderson.
It's all
He's good people.
about
He's got
creating revenue and money and helping spread the good word of Mr. Anderson.
And you can now go to PWRshow.com, link right through to MrAnderson.com, get exclusive merchandise. Can you get that from anywhere else?
No, of course not. You get the 100% pure T-shirt. You get the I Hate People. You get 8x10s, the whole deal. PWR show is growing.
On
we
Twitter,
have so
that's our
much
name on Twitter.
Pro Wrestling Report.
Oh, there it is. Very good job, David.
Growing.
It's written all over the place.
We
here.
have so many more huge announcements coming.
Exactly.
It's
some
ridiculous.
more partnerships. Very happy to have Ken Anderson on board at PWRshow.com. And now, David Hero, it's time for the Wrestling Outlook. What is it that we need to keep an eye out for, that we're looking forward to this upcoming week on wrestling programming? And let's start with WWE. Big pay-per-view on Sunday. We talked about that last night in Be the Booker, so be sure to check that out. Available on our website, PWRshow.com. And the big question for Extreme Rules, will the Shield walk out with both the Tag and United States Championships? I think it's a foregone conclusion. However, this predictability in these matchups is not at all swaying me away from watching the pay-per-view, because while I think I know that that's going to happen, I want to see how it happens, and I want to see that moment and the glorious moment on Monday night when the Shield is standing in the center of the ring with all those championship titles on their shoulders and waists.
This Extreme Rules pay-per-view is going to develop and start building mid-card stars into upper mid-card guys. And it's going to start with the Shield. It's going to start with those three guys. It's going to help make Ryback a more believable threat to John Cena. It's going to help Randy Orton get back on track. It's going to make Fandango a little more evil.
What I really want to see, though, this week, too, whether it be on Raw or SmackDown, is how they handle this developing situation with Dolph Ziggler, the World Heavyweight Champion. And next week on In Depth, right here on this very program, David Hero, we're going to talk about the substantial reasoning or the newsworthy story coming out of the fact that they did not strip Dolph Ziggler of the World Heavyweight Championship. This is a tease. Don't just start giving stuff away. But I want to see how they deal with it next week on WWE programming, and how will John Cena's foot injury play into the matchup with Ryback tomorrow night at Extreme Rules, especially since Ryback attacked it again this past Monday on Raw.
It's going to be an interesting match.
Well, that's the outlook. We'll see if there's another sexual harassment occurrence on Impact Wrestling.
How dare you play around with that?
Look, I love Christy Hemme. I'm a fan of Austin Aries. I just, for whatever reason, maybe I'm desensitized by today's society, I just don't think, and I appreciate her situation. Let me make that crystal clear. I appreciate if she felt this way, which means that, yes, it was an issue and it should have been dealt with. But I feel as if outside of the people involved, it's been blown out of proportion a little bit, and we're not going to contribute to that any further. That is this week's edition of the Pro Wrestling Report Prime Time here on My 24 Milwaukee for that one.
This one.
This is Damian Nelson saying thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see you next Saturday night.